Good morning, guys. It's Nick at Optima PS. I hope you're all well. Thanks once again for coming back to my channel, and apologies, it's been a while since I last did a video, but this one's a good one. I wanted to talk to you today about something that I think is incredibly bullish in a time when I imagine most of you are not. Take a look at the price of XRP right now, probably as low as it's been in the last 24 months. So I don't blame you for not being bullish, but again, this is about the big picture and not about current price action. Now's a good time to buy, in my opinion, but that's only my opinion. Probably, therefore, a good time to get into my disclaimer. As you know, my name's Nick. I am a financial advisor, but I'm absolutely not your financial advisor. So anything I say in this video is absolutely not financial advice, because I couldn't possibly give you any financial advice. And if I did, it would be terrible financial advice, because quite frankly, I don't know you, you don't know me. So this is nothing more than just my opinion, a guy speaking on the internet trying to share some ideas. So let's get into it. If you could click that like button, that would be great. Subscribe to the channel if you've not subscribed, that always helps. So what I want to talk about today is, as you can see from the title, crypto and the agentic economy. Quite frankly, this is a subject that I never really considered when I first got into crypto. It's something that has developed more in the years preceding me getting into crypto. So it's not something I can say I had the vision to and the foresight to see years ago, but it's something that's developed into what is going to be, quite frankly, an absolutely phenomenal piece of the blockchain space. For those of you who aren't familiar with the term, the agentic economy, what exactly does it mean? Well, if we take a look at, an AI subscription, the agentic economy is an emerging economic system where autonomous AI agents act as independent market participants. Instead of just answering questions, these software agents plan multi-step tasks, negotiate pricing, buy services, and make microtransactions on behalf of humans and businesses. So what does that actually mean? Well, basically what it means is, behind the scenes, we're in a way that none of us really see. It's too fast for us to see. There are now agents, AI agents out there participating in the economy. And how does that happen? Well, quite frankly, people set them up to do things, conduct business, to move, to work. They're actually talking to each other in the background. So I could go on to my AI right now. I tend to use Grok and Claude. You might use a different one. I think they're all pretty much the same, to be honest with you. Claude, I think, is possibly the best one at the moment, if anyone's interested. But I could set my Claude up today and say, I want you to go out to, rather than me jumping on the internet and searching to find a flight, I want to fly from here to New York. Rather than jump on the internet, do that search myself and try and find the best price, I could actually set up my Claude to go online, find me the best price. I'd give it an instruction, something along the lines of, I want to fly from where I am today to New York City on the 25th of December 2026. I don't want to pay any more than $500, and I want you to find me the best seat on the best flight. Go and do your thing. And off it would go. It would scour the internet far faster than I could do it. It would find websites that I could never even imagine. And rather than like an old search engine in the old days, that's where it would stop and say, here you go, Nick, we found you the best flight. It's this price. Now you go and log into that booking site, pay the fee, use your Visa card, book the tickets. It will send you the email. You then confirm buy the flight. What would actually happen in this instance is the agent, the AI, would go off and do all those things itself. I would give it the instructions and then trust it to find me the best flight. I might set other parameters. I might say I don't want to fly through this airport, or I don't want to go over that region right now. Great example being right now, I wouldn't particularly fancy stopping and changing flights in Iran, as you can imagine why. So you can put all these instructions in and trust the AI to go and do it. And one part of that is the searching and the research and everything else. The other part is the AI would actually buy those flights on my behalf. Of course, it doesn't have a Visa card, it doesn't have a bank account, but it does have a wallet. It has a crypto wallet. So the AI would go and buy me that transaction. That's just one example. Another completely different example is I could set up my Claude and say, here's a trading budget of $200. I want you to focus on foreign exchange. and make me as much money as you can between now and the end of September 2026. And it would take a bit more coding than that, a bit more instruction than that, but basically the AI would go off and do it. There's stories all over the internet of people who set up the AI and said, go and make me a business. Here's a budget of $1,000. I don't care what you do as long as it's legal. Go and make as much money as you can. And the agent will research the best market, the best way to do that, go off and set something up for you and actually begin generating money in the background. Like a lot of things, I'm not advocating you do that. Quite frankly, I'm guessing, I've not even done the research on this, I'm guessing more people have done that and it's failed than been successful. We only really see the success stories because no one comes out onto social media and says, great news, guys, I've lost $1,000 trusting my AI. So I wouldn't say go out and do that right away unless you've done the research, done the work, and know exactly what you're doing. But this conversation isn't about the success you might have from that. This is about the fact that this is happening in real time. I'm not talking about something that I think is going to happen in the future. I'm talking about something that is taking place right now. And the only way those agents are going to be able to function in this way is by using the blockchain, because nothing else makes sense. If you use a Visa account right now, there's still fees to be paid. If you use bank accounts right now, they can't open a bank account. They don't have a physical signature. They don't have a passport. So the only way the agent is going to be able to act autonomously is using blockchain. And this opens the door to something I don't think many people out there have considered. The world is moving in a direction that perhaps some people predicted, but none of us thought we'd be where we are right now. We are going to see a world in the not too distant future where agents are responsible for a vast, vast portion of global commerce. It just makes sense. Companies will eventually have agents acting on their behalf in the background, unsupervised. Jobs will be lost. I think that's something worth considering. I'm not a doom and gloom merchant. I don't buy into the theory that everyone's going to be sat living in poverty because agents have taken all the jobs. I think more the other way. Life will be made simpler and easier. There will be some form of universal basic income, because there is no way on earth the governments or the people, the powers that be, I'm not sure it will be human governments in the future either, but that's another conversation. There's no way they're going to allow the human beings of planet Earth to starve to death. Because agents have taken all their jobs. That's not the way it works, right? None of these companies can make their profits if there's no one out there to be buying their consumables, whatever they're producing. So the simple fact of the matter is there will be a default situation where we live in a world that whoever owns these companies, be it Elon, be it any one of the big entities out there, are forced to provide some kind of basic income for us, because if they didn't, there would be no one to consume whatever they produce, and what's the point in that? We'd have a world full of AI and everyone else is starved to death. So that's not the way it's going to go. So realistically speaking, I don't buy into the idea that agents are going to replace our current income, our current level of life. I do believe the way we live our lives is going to change incredibly over the next 10, 20, 50 years. But that's not what this conversation is about today. What this is about is how the use of these agents, or these agents using themselves, because there's not going to be much human involvement in that, will impact the price of crypto. Because that's what we're here for, right? That's what you listen to me for. You don't listen to me to listen to some crazy guy predict how the future is going to be. You listen to me because you feel I might share some ideas that help you to make some money in the crypto market. As I say, not financial advice, but I'm a guy who's out there. I work in the sector. I research these things on a daily basis, and it's something that is the be all and end all. No one listens to me to get a lovely, rosy idea of the future. They listen to me because they think there might be some nugget in what I say, and that might help them to choose the right crypto coin. It might help them to choose the right investment and pick something that's going to be a winner. So what does it really mean? I mean, getting into it simply, right now, as you're watching this video, as I say, there are software agents not human beings, nothing to do with humans anymore, buying things. They're booking compute, paying for data, settling invoices. That's not just with humans, that's with other software agents, no humans involved whatsoever. They don't use credit cards, there's no login required, there's no human clicking a button to say confirm. They are doing this autonomously in the background, all by themselves. It's not science fiction, it's already happening, it's happening right now. What I want to do is break down exactly what that means, how fast it's actually going, real numbers, not hype, and what could that mean for crypto assets built by machine speed payments. I'm going to focus on XRP. You know I'm an XRP based channel, but this is not specifically about XRP. I don't think one chain gets all this business. I think this will be shared across most of the blockchains, let's say the big ones that survive, the ones that make it work. And trust me, there's going to be enough business there to make every single one of these blockchains that do survive incredibly successful. So going back to the basics again, the agentic economy, what does it refer to? It basically just means that it's where AI agents, autonomous pieces of software, don't just recommend things, they actually act. They do it themselves. They research, decide, negotiate, and transact. Often, not always, but often with no human being involved in this process at all. So, in the old world, you'd go to ChatGPT, you'd say, get me a good flight to Lisbon, or find me a good flight to Lisbon, then you go and book it. In the agentic world, it goes off and it does all of that itself, as I said before. Now, scale that up. Let's really think about this in real time, because if we're suddenly in a world where the human speed of transaction is no longer a question mark, if we're in a world where the price of these transactions is no longer a question mark, how many transactions might we see across the blockchain on a hourly, daily, minute, second by second, fraction of a second basis? Because historically there's been some major holdbacks to that. Historically, if I want to send you $10, I'm not sending it to you by my bank because it's going to cost me $25 for the privilege of sending it. That's not the way any of us want to conduct our business. If I owe you $10, I'm going to say, listen, next time I see you in the bar, I'll buy you a beer and I'll give you $10 back. We're suddenly in a world now where the cost of transactions and the speed of transactions is capable of being irrelevant. The speed would still be affected if it were human to human. Even if it was going to cost me 0.03 cents to send you $10, I've still got to sit down at my laptop, on my phone, open an app, send the money. It's still a pain in the ass, right? For $10, I'd probably do it. If it was $1 I owed you, I definitely wouldn't do it. And you wouldn't expect me to. I'd say, listen, I'll give you your book back next time I see you. That's always restricted the amount of transactions that take place globally, because nobody does that for $1. Nobody goes onto the internet and buys something for $1, because the $1, whatever the asset might be, the item might be, it's not worth the transaction. Suddenly that becomes completely different. We're going to see a world where prices come down incredibly, but the businesses still make money because of the volume of transactions. You know, let's use Netflix as a great example. We all have a Netflix account now. Yeah, we all watch things we never would have watched before. For the older guys in the audience, you'll know what I mean here, but for the younger guys, you may not. But back in the day, we didn't have Netflix. We used to go to something called Blockbuster, and if we wanted a movie, we'd scour the shelves, we'd find the movie we fancied, we'd look at the boxes, we'd read the description, decide which one was the one we wanted tonight. We'd hire that DVD or VHS back in the day. We'd go home, we'd watch it, the next day we'd bring it back. Normally, if you didn't get it back in the store by 7 p.m., they charge you an extra day's fee and things like that. And you'd end up paying $6 to watch one video, one movie. Now, we all did that. We enjoyed it. Saturday night was movie night. But what that meant was Saturday night was movie night. We didn't watch two movies we weren't bothered about in the space of a night, because that would have been $6, potentially $12 for something you weren't even fussed about. Today with Netflix, $10 gets you access to thousands of movies, TV shows. You end up watching things you would not normally have watched just to give them a try. I do it all the time. And then after 2 episodes, I go, no, not interested in this, never watch it again. Sometimes I find a good one and I watch 24 episodes in a week. Again, we wouldn't have done that back in the day because you would have paid a fortune for it. So this is how the world changes, and then compare that to other types of subscription, other types of services. No one's going to have their AI going out there signing up to subscriptions for $12, $15 a month that they're not really bothered about, that they might use once or twice. But suddenly, if everyone in the world is capable of saying to an AI, go out, find me the right subscription service or the right product, pay 3 cents to use it once, utilize the information, the the subscription, the service, whatever you get for that money, as much as you need, and then don't pay again, there will be thousands upon thousands, if not millions and millions of transactions per second taking place like that. The world as we know it will change forever because of this agentic situation where we don't need to do the work, we don't need to do the research, we don't have to do the physical activity and pay the age-old fees that we've always paid. The more volume in any sector, the lower the price can be, and the profits are still there. We're going to see the world change incredibly over the coming years. Now, let's talk about what that really does for us. So, going back, the broader agentic market, the software, the infrastructure layer, it was sitting around $6 to $7 billion in 2024-25. Research firms now are looking into this. No one really knows because we're trying to guess the future. This is literally uncharted territory. They can only use the growth and the way things have grown in other sectors before to try and predict what this might be. The growth of the internet would be a great one for that. The growth of AI, the exponential growth seems to be gaining both its ability, its capabilities, and also its usage from human beings around the world. But research firms are now predicting that somewhere between 33 billion and 46 billion in 2030. Yeah. This sort of graph here, you see what is the agentic AI marketplace size. So this is saying by 2030, 46 billion. By 2034, 199 billion. You can't see my mouse here on the screen, but I'm following that trend up. You can see it's exponential growth. We're literally in a world where they are predicting this thing to go through the roof. And by the way, I suspect this is a conservative estimate. Some people out there are discussing literally trillions of dollars to be transacted on a daily, weekly basis using these agents, because microtransactions make so many more transactions possible. They never made sense before because the speed of human beings meant that you wouldn't get enough volume of the transactions to make it possible to pay such small fees on such a regular basis. That's no longer a consideration. So here's where it gets really, really interesting. Payments process analysts, eMarket, a good example. On the conservative end, they're saying 144 billion by 29. Bain and Company estimates something more like 300 to 500 billion by 2030. That'd be 15 to 25% of all US e-commerce going through agentic agents. So non-human beings making these transactions. Morgan Stanley said about 190 billion base case, 385 billion bull case by 2030. On the aggressive end, McKinsey has said figures more like 3 to 5 trillion range by 2030. We're talking about phenomenal amounts of money going to be transacted in this way by agents that have nothing to do with human beings. Now, let's be straight, because, I don't just cherry pick the best numbers. That's a 35x spread between 144 billion and 5 trillion. And it's not because someone's wrong, it's because agentic commerce, it means different things to different firms. Some only count autonomous consumer purchases, others count every business-to-business transaction that an agent touches in any way or form. But what is unanimously agreed here is that this space is going to be phenomenally larger in the future than it is now. And quite frankly, the only way this works is via blockchain. There's no other way it works. It doesn't work with Swift. It doesn't work with Visa and MasterCard. It doesn't work with the traditional financial rails. This only works with the blockchain because we need the speed and the cost efficiency to make this work. There's no way any of you out there believe the AI world is going backwards, right? No one sits there thinking, oh, it's just a flash in the pan, it will end soon. We all know what the AI world is going to be. That's why almost every top performing stock in the Nasdaq, in the S&P 500, is AI related. Okay, there's a couple of exceptions to that, but realistically speaking, every top stock out there is related to AI in some form. I don't think one of you people listening at home right now thinks this guy's crazy. AI is not going to be anything another 2 years from now. It's a flash in the pan. So how does that translate to us? The size of the agent economy, the agent commerce broadly, but what does it actually mean if we're talking about settling on chain, going through public blockchains rather than Visa, rather than banks? This is the part most content skips when you're looking at things, other guys' videos, and there's some great analysts out there, don't get me wrong. People posting on Twitter, people posting around. They don't give any credit to exactly how big this is going to be. So the leading open standard is called X402. It's an open machine-to-machine payment protocol built on an old unused piece of the internet, HTTP status code 402 for any of you that are interested. It means payment required. It lets a server basically say, hey, agent, that'll be 1 cent, please. And the agent pays instantly in a stable coin or in a different type of coin, depending on how it chooses to settle. In most cases, the agent itself will instantaneously make the decision as to the best settlement rail. Now, that will not necessarily be XRP, XLM, HBAR, whatever currency it might be. I think more cases than not, it will be stable coins, because that's a flat payment structure where you're not likely to see any slippage, any change in the value. But realistically speaking, this is all about the blockchain, not specifically about one particular coin. And it will instantly make that transaction. So since mid-2025, X42, it's already processed about 165 million agent transactions and tens of millions of dollars in cumulative volume across probably 70,000 plus active agents right now. And that's really just through this spring. Visa's own stablecoin settlement layer, which overlaps with the crypto world, it's running about 7 billion annualized rate at the moment. That's $7 billion and spans about 9 blockchains. So the bit that should get your attention is, realistically speaking, every name in tech and finance are building for this right now. Google, already on it. You know, Cloudflare, already on it. All the names you're talking about, all the names we commonly associate with the internet, with technology, with finance, they're already doing this right now. Visa settles in stablecoins. I've not seen any huge mainstream media promotion about this, or news article telling people about this. Visa now settles in stablecoins. It's not a fringe crypto Twitter narrative anymore. It's infrastructure that's actually happening with the biggest companies in the world. So how much money do we think is going to transact over the blockchain, specifically because of AI agents? I don't think anyone is prepared right now, and I don't mean emotionally prepared, I mean informationally. I don't think anyone is in the position to give you an exact figure with confidence, because the market's only 12 months old, give or take, and realistically it would be very, very difficult to predict, because right now I think if we looked at everyone on the planet, probably only 1 or 2% actively use AI. I use it every day as part of my business. I sit in the pub and talk about it, and people will go, oh, can you get that AI thing to answer this for me, please? They don't have an account. They don't have a Claude account. They don't have a Grok account. They'll turn around. Yeah, my mum sent me an email the other day. My mum lives in a different country, so we don't speak on the phone quite so often because the time difference is once a week for a catch up. But when it's something important, she'll send me an email. And she's got a business. The landlord's increasing the rent. She doesn't want to pay the rent on the new place, so she's going to serve a notice. And she sent me an email saying, here's what the landlord's quoted. Can you use AI to write me a legal sounding reply back that says, thanks but no thanks, I'm going to terminate the lease and move out. The AI needs to make sure I don't break any rules of the contract. I'll do that for it. It will take me 3 seconds. It's absolutely fine. But she doesn't do it personally. She isn't in the position to do that herself. So right now, I don't think most of the world uses AI, but the usage of AI is growing exponentially faster than the adoption of the internet. I would argue possibly now. 10 years ago, somebody would have said to me, can you go and research this for me? Then they say, can you Google this for me? I think within a year or two, people will go, can you AI that for me? Can you Grok it? Can you Claude it? Can you Chat GPT it for me? You've probably heard people say that already. The world is moving in that direction, probably quicker than we move to Google, quicker than we move to the internet from old-fashioned libraries. The world exponentially grows in its adoption speed as well. The more technology comes into life. So I expect most people will have an active AI within a few years from now. Most people will use that AI for things like buying flights, for things like, even things like, it could be anything, couldn't it? Claude, go out and research for me. I'm not happy with my electricity supplier anymore. Find me the company that will offer me the best rates today, lock me into a 3-year contract at the same rate, and guarantee that they're going to provide the services better than my existing provider. Off you go. And historically, we'd ask Google which electricity company is the best, and then find it, and then call them or email them or log in, open an account, press a few buttons, confirm a few signatures, ring up and cancel the old electricity company. Today, you could say to Claude, do this, please, and it will go off and do it. That's the world we're moving towards. I imagine there'll be a day where a company, where a household doesn't make any of these decisions anymore because it's already pre-coded into or pre-instructed into your AI that says, here's our house, here's how much life costs. I want you to constantly be researching the better deals. Find me a new internet provider, find me a new electricity provider, find me a new gas company, find me a new telephone company. Can you get a better deal on my mobile phone contract? All these different things. Netflix. I use Netflix as a great example. My wife doesn't prefer Netflix. My wife prefers Disney. So go out and find me that. Go out and find me this, that, and the other. Go out and basically run every aspect of my financial life to improve my circumstances as much as you can. That's the kind of world we're going to be in. So let's get back to the real question. How much money is going to transact over the blockchain? We don't know. Conservative estimates 150 to 500 billion by 2930 from agentic transactions alone. I think that's incredibly low. I think that's incredibly conservative or lacking foresight. Who am I to say that? Absolutely no one. It's just my opinion. But let's take a look at what that means to us. Realistically speaking, the agentic transactions will be there. They will be far bigger than human transactions by volume, maybe not by value, in a short space of time. They will use the blockchain, absolutely, because there is no other use case that makes sense. There is no other format that makes sense, I should say. They're not going to use bank accounts. They can't open them. They're not going to use your Visa card because the fees are too high. They're going to be directly transacting from the blockchain. They're going to be choosing the best route. See, I'm an XRP guy. I like XLM as well. I like a lot of these different coins. I hold numerous. But I'll use XRP as the example because most of my audience think of XRP as well. And realistically speaking, they will go out there and say, oh, the best transactional coin is going to be this one. They will choose it. And perhaps they're looking at USDC, but the product they're buying is in euro, so it's going to be in EURC or something like that. And they will use XRP or one of the other coins as a, transactional form. I want to change USDC to EURC, and they will use XRP for the transaction. So I can't tell you exactly where each specific crypto will come into this. I can just tell you almost all the top utility coins will find their place in this market. What does it mean? What does it mean for the volume? What does it mean for the coins themselves? Honest answer is I don't know. All I know is it means phenomenally more transactions going across all these blockchains, all these networks, and typically speaking, that means higher price. You know, if you listen to the other guys out there, most of these coins have a specific use case. Most of these coins require the price to be higher to really fulfill that ambition. Nobody wants to use XRP to, you know, to use as a transactional coin for foreign exchange or for exchange, or to use as a transactional coin for payments if the price may move up and down by 3% during that transaction. 3% is probably a lot because they're so quick. But the simple fact of the matter is, increased use takes coins out of supply, increases demand. Anyone who's spent more than 10 minutes in an econ class will tell you that means price goes up. And that's really what we're looking at. We're looking at a simple situation where you've got a commerce category, agent to agent, merchant to merchant payments, that's growing from near zero to somewhere between hundreds of billions to low trillions of dollars by 2030, depending on whose model you trust. You've got the exact structural reason, no human in the loop, micropayments, programmable rules. Blockchain's the only answer. Increased usage of blockchain means increased usage of your coin, means price goes up. It's incredibly hard to try and tell you exactly how that price goes up. I personally am incredibly bullish on the price of my coins over the next 5 years. I'm quite bullish on the price of my coins over the next 1 year, if I'm really honest. I'm still not 100% convinced we go down much more than here. We're already low. I don't think we go down an awful lot more. But what it means in the grand scheme is I'm buying coins today, XRP on your screen for $1.02, that I think will be worth exponentially higher prices than that if the world moves in a direction that it's already confirmed it's moving in. Does that mean $10, $100, $1,000, $10,000 in XRP? I don't know. 10,000 seems crazy to me at the moment, but crazy doesn't mean unrealistic. You know, I don't buy into the whole market cap thing. I never have. It doesn't make any sense with crypto. I don't see there being any restriction to the price of these coins, because there shouldn't, or no traditional investment parameter restriction, shall we say. But to try and predict it is ridiculously difficult because we just do not know. If you'd asked me 5 years ago, will every household have an AI managing their daily, weekly, monthly household rates, I'd have said, what are you talking about? Whereas today, that seems like almost a foregone conclusion to me. I think eventually you'll buy a home and there's an AI already input sitting there on a screen in the wall, already designed to do that for you. It will be an extra feature to the house. A bit like when you buy a car, you know, you can buy the basic model, or you can buy a car in the old days with a CD player, now with a built-in, you know, something that connects up to your iPod, or something connects up to whichever, you know, online app you use for your music, whatever it might be. The house will come with these features already built in, and everyone will live their life in a way where we no longer think about electricity bills in the same way we used to think about them, because they're all taken care of in the bill. We'll still pay them, you know, we'll still pay them, but in the same respect, they will all be taken care of in the background, and we will be confident that we are getting the best possible deal. It won't be a conversation in the bar anymore. You know, I sit down with friends and they go, geez, my electricity was high this month. Who are you with? That just won't be a conversation. Yeah. And this is the world we're going to. What does that mean for price? It means price goes up. That's what it means. It means price goes up. I think price goes up fantastically on the back of this. Hopefully I've done a good job of explaining that to you. I've been yapping on for 34 minutes. I don't really like to keep these videos too long, but hopefully that makes sense. Drop me some questions. Hit me the like button. That'd be great. If there is anything you want to ask me about this, you've got me on X, Twitter as well. My handle's here in the description. Drop me some questions. I'll answer any questions you have. I have been yapping on for too long now, so I will let you go with that thought in mind. Hopefully it's raised a few questions and sparked a few sort of thought processes for you. Go and do your own research by all means. Hey, we're talking about AI. Go and ask whichever AI you use what they think about this. Quite frankly, I think each and every one will tell you exactly what I've just said. This space is going to grow exponentially. The payments between agents is going to grow phenomenally from here, and they're going to use the blockchain. Price goes up, guys. Price goes up. So hopefully that all makes perfect sense to you. In the meantime, have a great weekend. Coming up to Friday afternoon for me, so I'm heading out to the golf course. Stay classy, crypto.